Hello, my name is Tim Steele. Welcome back to my channel, A Spiritual Conversation. So let's have one on today's topic. I'm going to shrink the picture so we can see what the topic is. And the topic is Amos the Shepherd Prophet, Part 2. Woe to those that ease in Zion. Let's get into it. Now, Amos was a shepherd in Judah from a town called Tekoa. He's going to be called by God to go to the northern kingdom, city called Bethel in Israel, deliver his message to the people and the leadership there. Now, in Amos 2, I'm going to pick up from where I stopped at in Amos 1. In Amos 1, we stopped in chapter 4. We went chapter 1 through 4. This, we're going to go 5 through 9. So we're going to start out in 5. In chapter 5, Amos talks about these acts of injustice and God's responses to them. So let's get into it. Now, we see the balance beam here that represents justice. So let's see what we're talking about. Now, in Northern Kingdom, we had a problem with justice. We talked about that, justice for the poor. We talked about it in Amos 1. Now, this statement here says they hated the ones who uphold justice in court. So there are some magistrates and judges who want to do the right thing, but these people were despised because they couldn't be bribed. Okay, and here they said they detest the ones who tell the truth. Okay, next one, tax on the poor. I'm checking my picture just a little bit. Now, levy straw tax on the poor. This is not to like better the poor living conditions, their working conditions, how they made their money, anything like that. This is strictly to make money off the back of the poor, but making money off the back of the poor by putting tax on them like this. They also pose tax on their grain. Now, because they did this, the Lord is going to say something to let's say the well-off, the ones who are, let's say, connected in Israel, the ones who know the powers to be. He's going to tell them, though you build stone mansions, you will not live in them. Okay, and though you have planted lush vineyards, you will not drink the wine. And the reason being is that they're about to go off into captivity. The Lord has had enough of this. Okay, and enough for the warnings, enough for like the chastisement, consequences for the bad behaviors that they just completely ignore. So they're coming to the end of the road here. Now, this is also what the Lord is going to say, and this is Amos, shrink this a little bit more, get this out of your way. 5:12. For I know how many of your offenses are, and how great your sins. They are those who oppress the innocent and take bribes and deprive the poor of justice in the courts. Therefore, the prudent keep quiet in such times, for the times are evil. Now, in the last verses of Amos' 5th chapter, I'm going to go to 26 and 27. Here's 26, okay? They're going to talk about these two deities here. They're false deities, of course. Sukkot, I think it's where it's pronounced. And the one down here is Helam. These deities come out of Babylonia, Assyria, come out of that region. And the first one I'm not too sure about, whether that's just a name in general for false gods. This is a particular deity that they worship. Some of the Israelites will worship this deity. And the one on the bottom, I know what that one is. That one is a starry host, a god from a starry host. This is supposed to be the god of Saturn. Okay, so they are worshiping these two deities. And in Amos 26, it goes like this: you have lifted up your shrine of your king. And if you're not talking about Jeroboam, we're talking about this deity Succoris, this first one. That's their king. When we say their king, we're talking about their God. The pedestal of your idols, and the star of your gods, and this is the star god they're talking about here, which you have made for yourselves. That's that one, Kiyum. So Amos is talking about these two Babylonian false deities that some of the Israelites are serving. Now, in Amos 27, 5:27, therefore God says to them, therefore I will send you into exile beyond Damascus. Beyond Damascus is Assyria. Say the Lord, whose name is God Almighty. Okay? Let's look at where he's going to send them. Now here's the map. Now the purple arrow is going to be the first, let's say, exile of people leaving Samaria, the northern kingdom, Israel. And they're going to be settled in two different places. This one here, Gozan and Nineveh itself, sort of separating them. You don't want too many of these people in the same place. They may get together and rise up and try to free themselves. So they sort of separate them like this. Now, this reddish, brownish arrows, this is going to be the next king that comes in there. It's going to be Semelisa the fifth. He is going to send some in exile also. And they're going to go to the same two spots, two cities, Gozan and by a different route, I see, and Nineveh. Now, also, there's going to be a third king called, I keep getting this third king's name mixed up. But the third king is also going to use this route here, but he also, for some reason, is going to send some of these people off into Media. Now, this third king is going to be called Sargon. Sargon, I almost forgot his name. Sargon II. Okay, so Sargon II is going to do this, send some of them off into Media. He's also going to use the route of these brown arrows, which is mainly Semelisa the fifth. And I remember Semelisa the fourth. That was the one in Nineveh when Jonah preached. He was a sensible king. He stopped the violence and all the crazy stuff when Jonah preached that message of 40 more days and Nineveh will fall. But this one has Sargon the fifth, no kin to Sargon the fourth. He just took on the name. Now, let's move on in to chapter 6. Give me a minute here. Okay. And chapter 6 is War to those who are at ease in Zion. And this is actually the subtitle what we were talking about. Now, a lot of them talk about this runs from chapter 6, verse 1 through 8. I'm going to do verse 1 through 7, and I'll stop it there. And let's see what this at ease in Zion is really talking about. Okay, Amos chapter 6, verse 1. Woe to the complacent. Woe to you who are complacent in Zion, and to you who feel secure on Mount Samaria, you noble man of the foremost nation to whom the people of Israel come. Verse 2. Go to Calman. Look at it. Go from there to Great Hamath. Then go to Gath and Philistia. Okay. Are they better off than your kingdoms? Are their lands larger than yours? Now, what they are talking about here is that these cities, Kalmah, Goth, and Hamath, they were all conquered. All conquered. I know Goth was conquered by Judah, and Kalmah was conquered by the Syrians, I believe, and Hamath was conquered by Israel. Now, these last two may be flipped around, but I think that's the way it went. And what he's saying is that you see how those cities were conquered? You think you can't be conquered? Okay? And that's what this verse is all about. Let's look at 6:3. You put off your day of disaster and bring near a reign of terror. Now, putting off the day of disaster means that you've had warnings. God has done things to you, you know, that to get your attention. Okay, you will have things happen to you like crops die out, don't get rain for long, a drought comes in. Okay, these are disasters that's happening to you, so God get your attention. But you put that off because you didn't pay any attention to it. So because of that, something is coming very closely, right down the road here, that's much worse than that. Okay, and that is really going to be the captivity. That's going to be the reign of terror. Okay, Amos 6 verse 4. I hope you can see this. Okay, this one says you lie in beds adorned with ivory, lounge on your couches. You dine on a choice lamb and fattened calves. These are the wealthy people he's talking about. He's not talking to poor folks, but they're living high on the hog. Okay, and part of the reason why they are living so well is that they are exploiting the poor. When we talk about the levying tax and stuff like that, they're doing anything, to just store more wealth. And I don't want to get political here, but like this is like we call true capitalism. No social nets for anybody. If you got the power, you're able to buy justice and everything else. Okay, 6.5. I know my picture's sort of blocking, and I can't really do that much about that now. Okay. You strum on your harps like David and improvise on musical instruments. They're having a ball here, folks. Every night there's a party. They're improvising on musical instruments. In other words, they're being jazz musicians. Play nothing alike twice. Improvisation. That's what they're doing. They're having fun here. You drink wine by the bowlful and use the finest lotions, but you do not grieve over the ruins of Joseph. Now, drinking wine by the bowlful is the sin that they're drinking a lot of wine. These people are having a good time. They're partying every night. Use the finest lotion. But here's a clincher here. You do not grieve over the ruins of Joseph. Now, what is that? Well, Jacob is Israel. Jacob is Israel. Okay? And Joseph is Jacob's son. Okay? So, the children of Israel, the ruins, those are the ones not doing that well, the ones that are really struggling and suffering in this new economy that they have going on. They don't care about the poor. Folks, you can even see that in a day in a lot of places. I mean, even in this country, I hate to jump on America because America do more for the poor in a lot of places because I've traveled and I've seen with a lot of, especially the third world, I mean, don't care anything about the poor at all. I mean, like you're left to die. In America, you do have some social nets, but for a country as wealthy as it is, we shouldn't have this many homeless people. That people just don't go there where they are. Don't really care. About their struggles. How they got there? Are they mentally off? Do they need to be institutionalized? Now, people just say, well, that's not my worry. So they're going about their business. Okay, and this is Amos, I think this is the verse 7. Okay, the Lord is saying, therefore, you will be the first to go off into exile. Your feasting and lounging will end. So the Lord is had it with it. He's not going to allow it anymore. He's seen enough. These folks they're not going to change. So the Lord is going to say, okay, here's your reward for your behavior. And it's going to be exile for the northern kingdom. All right, chapter 7. Amos meets Amarizer, the priest of Bethel. He's a religious leader in the northern temple, let's say kingdom, and he is the priest in the northern temple. In that temple, they served a golden calf that Jeroboam the first set up when the empire of Israel was first separated into two kingdoms. They still serve that same brand of religion. Now, let's see how this goes. Okay, I'm starting this at Amos 7:10. This is when they actually meet and they start to have a conversation. Then Amarizer, the priest of Bethel, sent a message to Jeroboam, the king of Israel. Amos is raising a conspiracy against you in the heart of Israel. The land cannot bear his words. He's really embellishing this, trying to make it like it's so more much in what it is. So they can do to Amos. So Jeroboam can order to have done to Amos what shut the rest of those prophets up. Okay, 7:11. Well, this is what Amos is saying. Jeroboam will die by the sword, and Israel will surely go into exile away from their native land. And then Amaziah said to Amos, get out, you seer. Now, your seer means, a seer is a prophet. So get out, you seer. Go back to the land of Judah. Earn your bread there and do your prophesying there. Now, when you went to the school of the prophets, or your father was a prophet or something like that, and you are a known prophet, you did get some means from it. I don't know how they did it. I know in the old covenant, I know how the priests were paid. Now the prophet did get something. I think if there was a lot of respect for a prophet, so it's like remember like Elijah, talked about this woman's house, and the woman didn't have anything because it was drought in the land, and he asked, more or less sort of told the woman to fix him something to eat. And what he did actually, he repaid her because he prayed, and the woman was able to take all that she had, and somehow he was able to multiply it. But the prophet, because someone was a prophet, they were respected. So I'm quite sure they got their earning from that. So this is what Amaziah is saying. You go back to Judah and earn your bread there. And he said, do your prophesying there. So okay, now he's going to add this. Don't prophesy anymore in Bethel, because this is the king's sanctuary and the temple of the kingdom. And Amos is going to answer Amaziah. And he's going to say, I was neither a prophet or the son of a prophet. Okay? And this is the way you usually become a prophet. Your father was a prophet, so you become a prophet. You can go to the school of the prophets. And, from early on, we say he didn't go to attend the school of prophets. He was not a prophet. And he's going to say, but I was a shepherd. And I also took care of sycamore fig trees. But the Lord took me from the tending its flock and said to me, go prophesy to my people Israel. That the regular person and made a prophet out of him. Now, then hear the words of the Lord. And this is what I like about Amos. And he's not going to go tit for tat with this guy and take it personally. He's going to tell him what the Lord has said. Not why did you say this about me? But no, here's what the Lord said. Now, here's what the Lord said. Okay, you say, do not prophesy against Israel and stop preaching against the descendants of Isaac. Therefore, this is what the Lord says. Your wife will become a prostitute in the city. Your sons and your daughters will fall by the sword. And your land will be measured and divided up. And you yourself will die in a pagan country. And Israel will surely go into exile. Let me throw this up a little because I can't see that. I got something in the way of it. Away from the native land, that's what it's saying. Okay? Now, in chapter 8 and chapter 9, this is being more or less wrapped up. We're always having a conversation with Amos, more or less talking about the end of Israel as a kingdom and a people. In 8, the Lord is going to show Amos a vision. And he's going to ask Amos, what do you see? And Amos is going to say, a basket of ripe fruits. And the Lord is going to say, yep, basket of ripe fruits. the time is right for my people Israel, um, to go off into captivity. Now, that's not exactly what he said. Because these two last two, I'm going to start paraphrasing a little bit. But that's he's saying. That's what the basket of right fruits standing for. It's right time for Israel now to suffer the consequences. Now, when we go into chapter 9, the Lord is going to be talking about how there's no way for these evildoers to get away from him for what they did. They're not going to be able to hide. They're not going to be able to run. And they got verses like, they're going to try to go into the rocks to hide. The rocks will fall on them. And you can't go to the bottom of the sea. None of that. Now, a lot, so what he's saying, so a lot of uh, the Bible language is that it has a meaning of something. That means you just can't get away. As far as people going to the bottom of the sea and hiding, they were drowning. So it's not that they're actually going to go there. But what the Lord is saying through this speech is like, there's no way they will be able to get away from the coming wrath that he has for these people. All these things he did, all these things they did, and here's their conclusion. And in this picture here, you can see like they're leaving the part of Samaria, somewhere in Israel, and the drawing is on fire, and the Assyrians are leading them out of the town in the captivity. To those two places, Gazan, and another one was Nineveh itself. Okay, so the story of the story of Amos is all about injustice. Okay, you don't want to have injustice on the poor and the people that can't help themselves, people who are being oppressed. Justice must be for everyone. And I'll stop this conversation here. And just whenever people talk about like civil rights and rights for people who don't have it, a lot of times they're going to quote things that Amos spoke about. Now, Amos talked a little bit about the idolatry in the land, but not a lot. His ministry was more about the injustices. Now, God got a problem with idolatry in the land also, but it's going to be the job of Hosea to come in after Amos to talk about it. They're almost like tag team partners. One tag up, another one comes in. Amos' ministry ends in 755, and Hosea's ministry is going to begin in 755. There's going to be another minor prophet around too, and it's going to be Nahum. No, it's not Nahum, it's Micah. Micah's going to be around the same time. He's going to come in. I would have to look at that chart again, but he don't come in simultaneously with Hosea. Hosea's going to come in first. So, folks, if you're getting anything out of this, please like and subscribe and put something in the comments. Channel is still relatively new. I think the channel may be like a little bit 2 months old. So I want to see where I am in like 6 months. Okay, so may God be with us and may God bless us. And for what we got out of this conversation, folks, justice is for everyone. And when you see someone being mistreated, misused, and they are defenseless, or they're in a situation where they can't help themselves, you're supposed to reach out to help folks who can't help themselves. I remember watching a movie, it was called A Few Good Men. And the two Marines, they got off from the charges of murder. There was two murder charges levied against them. They got off from both of those charges, but they were dishonorably discharged for conduct unbecoming a Marine. And one of the things that one of the Marines said to the other one said, yes, we were guilty because we supposed to help people like Willie, who couldn't help himself. And that's powerful when he said that, because when I think of that and I think of Amos, that could be right in this book of Amos. You're supposed to help those who can't help themselves. Okay. Just don't go along with the powerful because they're powerful. Okay, so until the next time, I'll see you.